Hey guys, next up on the build list is a replica droid collar from Dark Energy Creations. As you guys can see, this is a kit, so let's get right into it. This would be the head piece of the collar. This is the body, and you can see here there's nice detail on the knurling. It also has this end cap here, and then you can see the nice engraving from Dark Energy Creations. He serializes these, so this is serial number 162. So that's pretty cool there, and there's a nice job hidden, and then this also screws off. What I've already done here is I've washed all of these parts in soapy water to get off some of the machine oils and the any contaminants. There were some shards of aluminum that were left remaining, so had that all cleaned up before all of this. Deburred a lot of different areas. I'll try to point those out as I went through this. And then I also went ahead and lubed a lot of the threads just to make sure that there won't be any binding and such. But the bottom screws off. That's what it looks like on the inside. And then you also have this piece, which can hold a 9-volt battery if you decide to, FX this out. So this basically sits inside there, and then the cap screws on. So we'll leave that off for now. Put this back in here real quick. So I'll be able to drop a link in the description below for Dark Energy Creations, or DEC's website. These are currently sold out at the moment. He did a quick little run of 25 recently, so I was lucky enough to get to that, or get on that. So let's put this aside for now. So that was the head, this is the body, this is the battery holder, and he provides these parts in a nice card where he has all of these items bagged and labeled pretty well. So just make sure, guys, that you account for all those different small pieces. But what I ended up doing was I'm using these little salsa containers, and we'll just go through it real quick here. So first set here is the contact pin. You can see what that entails. Next one up is the timer button. There you go. Really small pieces, guys, so you got to make sure you really have the system to keep track of these. So this is the flash button. There you go. This is the quick release ring. So this is a steel insert there. I'll get to it all in a second, but that's in that. This is the screw ring. There you go. And then the last but not least, the T-slot. There you go. Alright, so I'm going to walk you through this assembly process, so just kind of bear with me as we go through this. I'll do my best to provide enough descriptions. I also have on the side here the instruction list from Dark Energy Creations website, so I'm going to refer to that as we go along. So the first part here is, he says wash everything, get rid of all of the contaminants, deburr as much as you can, and what we're doing here is just a dry fit. Later on, this piece will be painted, not the knurled part, but just the body here will be painted a textured black. I believe this bottom piece here of the head will be a gloss black, and there's a little red button somewhere in there that will need to paint. But first up is the contact pin, so we'll go through here, and looks like this brass pin piece go in through there. spring in, and then this hex nut here. Let's see here, what size would that be? Let me try this. Oh, cool, first try. This is a 5/32 hex wrench, so you would just go ahead and tighten that down. Not sure how tight yet so far, but a little spring action there. So that's the first part. And then let's see here. So what he's saying is that then you take the head and you're supposed to glue this in like this. And it should seat on the bottom there. Not quite sure yet how I will end up gluing this. If I'm going to try to do it from the underside here, or maybe you could see there's a little lip right in there. So probably have to put some glue around the edge and then drop this in. But for now, as a dry fit, I'm not going to do that. So I'll just leave this out for the time being, but that's where it ends up going. So that's the first part. Next is the timer button. So it'll be this guy here. And let's see here. So this is the timer body. So all of these, I ended up putting some grease on it just to lubricate the threads. Here. So, and what I ended up doing was I had to really deeper, there's a hole there for a set screw. I don't know if my camera's going to focus or not. Anyway, but that's where it is, and then really had to clean that up a little bit. So and even on inside, because when he drilled out and tapped this particular set screw, there were some burrs on the inside of that hole, so I had to clean that up. Pretty good there, but that'll slide in. This will go in, and what you'll see here in a second is when I put the set screw in. Let me see here. In just a little. This goes in, and you see this flat part here. That's supposed to, the set screw is supposed to sit against that. And so if you push this in, let me back this out. There's a little springy kind of action. So then what he says is to tighten it in, and then let's see, and then back it out just a bit, so then it'll function. So I'll have to kind of play around with that to figure out how deep that should go. It doesn't look like at this point that that set screw goes deep enough to clear the threads, so that I'll have to probably address a little bit later. Not sure if I want to, I'll probably shave down the set screw. That's easier than to try to mess with this particular button there. But anyway, that goes in there. So that's how that assembles. Let's see, then this goes, it gets screwed into the head right in here. So same thing with these threads, had to clean them up just a little, and then put some of the grease on it. So, and yeah, like I figured, it doesn't clear the thread, so I have to shorten that screw a little bit later. But anyway, for the time being, that's how it'll sit. This should sit completely flush. Let's see the pictures. Yeah, so this piece should sit completely flush there. So I have to adjust that set screw later, but for the time being, that's where it goes. And then let's move on to the flash button. So we're done with that one for now. Done with that. We'll do the flash button here. Got a few pieces there. let's see, so they want this screw to go in there first. There you go. And the spring goes in there. And then the plastic button, and the plastic button has threads on the inside, so that'll go in there. And that should all screw together. I think I'll probably have to glue that white plastic button in somehow, because right now it's just floats in there and it's kind of hard to get a grip on this. And I think it's doing okay. It's going in, but yeah, I'll probably have to glue that in a little bit, but anyway, that's good enough for now. So that is the flash button. Put that off to the side. Next up is the quick release ring, which is this piece here. See, there's a couple different pieces. There's a steel insert. Make sure we don't lose. Oh man, you gotta be careful with all these little pieces here, but okay. So let's see here. First up is this little guy. This screw here, it's a set screw, needs to go right in there. And then need a super tiny screwdriver. Whoops, came out already. Alright, that'll get it started. So let's see here. That goes in the head. So the steel insert here. Let's see here. This goes in. These are very tight fit. So obviously the tolerances are very tight, which is good. This screw here goes right in there. And then you'll see it come through right there. And then this guy goes right on top, so you'll see that one side there is a circle and another side there's an oval. Let's see here. I'm going to slide the ring on the steel insert in the head, screw the small set screw into the oval slot into the steel insert, so that goes like that. And then that'll go right in there. Okay. There we go. And then put the spring and ball into the handle. This must be the handle. Screw handle onto the ring to make sure the ball seats in the radius cutout. So here you can see if this moves back and forth, there's a hole there. Yeah. Okay, so let's spring goes into the body, ball goes on top. There you go. Oh, okay, so there's a little spring action back and forth. Okay, so that is the quick release ring. That's what it looks like. Next one, connector ring. Excuse me, guys. So connecting ring or screw ring, I guess that's what they're calling this here. So got lots and lots of pieces here. So careful there. All right. So first off is I'm gonna take this, put it on there. That's an easier way to do this. Let's put this on there first. Try it this way. Okay, there you go. Let's see, screw timer on lever on ring, put screw in the counter hole, put dot of glue on the threads. Okay, so this should be secured with some thread locker at some point. Tighten to desired tension, make sure the lever still moves. Alright, so we'll have to deal with that a little bit later once I'm ready for the final assembly. This really is all just a dry assembly at the moment. Like I said, we still need to do some painting afterwards or before we put everything back together. And then this piece, the little knurled piece, needs to go on there on the end. That would need to be secured with some glue. So we'll see how far we can get with the build, but I'm afraid that might be, because it's not secured. Well, let's just see. Alright. And then, whoops. Okay, yeah, so the next step here, everything is going to go on this way, so this will be upside down. Alright, so this guy, you guys already saw, it goes on this way, like that, but because I'm not gluing anything right now, then I'm just going to leave this off. Alright, so you guys can imagine what that looks like for the time being. So this one, okay, so there's two places here for some screws, one there for these hex bolts. So let's see if this goes on. Alright guys, then let's see here. So this piece gets placed right in here in the middle. Let's get these short hex bolts and get them installed. Going in there. Cool. So if you guys have hex wrenches with these ball ends, they really do come in handy, because otherwise the standard hex wrenches, there's just not enough room in here to get the regular L-shaped end onto the bolt. So there you go. So those two are secured for now. And let's see, screw. Timing lever non-fixation. So that would still ultimately end up moving. Alright, so then with these long screws, we take the body here, take this part off the bottom. Move some stuff out of the way here. So this one, done with that. So the last one here will be the T-slot. But okay, so you'll see a couple holes on the bottom, and this will sit. Let's see here. There you go. So I believe the cutout there needs to be aligned. And then we will, let's see here, take one of the long hex bolts. Drop it in on one side. Looks like the thread's caught, so it should be going in. There you go. Let's take the next one. This bolt here. Having some tweezers also is nice. Allows you to get things into places. Don't go crazy trying to do it. And some of these things, you just simply can't reach it with your fingers. But yep, looks like it's caught. Honestly, right now it would be nice to have one of those T-handle hex wrenches, but you know what? Make do with what you have here. So that's screwed down nicely there. Okay, perfect. And let's see, and the T-slots. So, let's see, that will go there. And then, let's see, first off, got to be careful here. There's a couple balls. There we go. One there, the plate, and then there's a couple different screws. Two long ones will be to attach the T-slot, or the cobalt, as other people refer this to the actual droid collar itself, to the body. This one. There we go. And then these two guys. Put them in there. So the cobalt, or the T-slot that I received, some of the edges were pretty rough, pretty sharp. So just like with most kits, and especially for machine parts, just make sure before you start assembly you try to deburr as much as possible. So I ended up using one of these mini file kits, and a few minutes, that's done. So anyway, that I believe is it. So that other piece there, where'd it go? Not sure if I could fit it in there, but in essence, that was it. Top there. I think that slides in underneath. Yeah. So it'll look like that. And this, obviously, like I said before, I'll have to, this needs to seat completely in. I need to deal with that that set screw a little bit later, but in essence, that is an assembled Dark Energy Creations replica droid collar. And the nice thing about this particular run is at the same time there was a gentleman on the RPF under the name TatooineMachine, I believe, and he was doing a run of droid collar caps. So this is a Luke version. There was also a Jawa version that was much more flat, not so concave on the top, but this also came. And let's see here, make sure nothing is in the way. This fits perfectly, just like that. So I think to secure it, I might just be able to do that. That does stick out a little bit, so I might have to measure and maybe drill a hole for this to be used as a set screw. I'm not sure if it was meant to be this one here or that little tiny set screw there that comes out at the top, but I think I probably would want to use that one, so I'll probably have to drill a little recess there so that this can sit in. Whoop, that thing came out. So that thing would sit flush, otherwise it pops in. But for the time being, everything looks to come together very smoothly here. There you go, guys. All right. So hopefully this guys help. This helps you guys in terms of the dry assembly of a droid collar. Like I said, now everything gets taken apart and we'll have to get it ready for painting. So next time, I think what you'll see is this in the finished form. I'll share some other thoughts as I go along from a painting process, the paints I used, etc. And then yeah, I think that should be it. And let's see here. This goes in on the bottom here, and then at some point, I don't know if I'm gonna put electronics in or not, but at least there's the capability for that. So that's what it looks like. Okay, there you go, guys. Hope this helps. Take care. See you soon.